Holla, and it has been a fat minute since I made a video, but with the new Sun and Moon tiers out, I saw some people curious on whether Gumshoos was at all viable in the Pokebank OU tier. I was kind of curious too, so I spent some time with this inspiration for Donald Trump memes, and it produced some pretty fun results. To start out, let's see what we're working with here. Okay, so Gumshoos is the latest in a line of normal type Pokemon you get early in the game, bringing us to our first point, and that's that, well, obligatorily its stats aren't very good. Its attack is respectable, getting up to 350 with an adamant nature, but aside from this, it combines meteor bulk with a woeful base 45 speed, making it a tough sell right off the bat. Compounding the problems is that its move pool isn't very deep. Besides some decent normal type moves, it gets U-turn, Earthquake, Crunch, Pursuit, and some defensive moves it can't really take advantage of. We're batting 0 for 2 at this point, so let's get to the last point. He's got 3 really good abilities, including an awesome signature one, Stakeout, which it simply cannot utilize. Stakeout doubles the damage by a Pokemon that switches in, which would be great if Gumshoos forced any switches, but I can count on one hand the number of Pokemon that feasibly want to switch out against it, making it sadly pretty useless. With that being said, I think you can do something else, and here's what I thought you can do with it.
And dun Alright, here it is. Choice Banded and Adaptability. Now, Adaptability you might remember as the ability that Porygon Z would run to make Tri-Attack extremely powerful, or that Crawdaunt would run to make Knockoff and Crabhammer and Aqua Jet very powerful. But here I think it's just about the only thing the Gumshoos can do. Because the added boost that it gets to its stab moves, as well as the Choice Band, as well as the Brave Nature, gets its attack up to at least respectable levels. Thrash is a very powerful normal stab move as well, and despite the fact that it locks you in, it isn't necessarily a bad thing, and you really need that added power for Gumshoos that you're not going to get. I also don't like using something like Giga Impact, because then you have to stall out another turn, and you need to be doing your best to wall break during all 5 turns of Trick Room. I should say, like, at the most 3 or 4, given that you have to get out of there once you set it. These other 3 moves are really more just a garnish than anything else. You really won't be using anything but Thrash. If you're really concerned about something like a Alolan Marowak coming in, then you might go into that. As for the EVs, maxing out attack is obligatory. From the other side, though, Gumshoos is so frail that even if you invest all the way in HP, it won't be taking too many hits from either the physical or especially defensive side. So I figure just throw it all into defense, and at least then it can maybe sometimes take some sort of physical hit. So an example of this was that I went into a Type Null. Type Null is defensive, so it took a Thrash at like 50-something%, and it had a Sword Stance set up, and then it used Double Edge on me, and I was able to survive with like 13% or something and take out the Type Null the next turn. So that's an example of what I'm thinking about here. Don't have necessarily calcs to back it up, but that's what I'm thinking. To support this thing, of course, we need it in Trick Room so it can actually outspeed stuff and it can actually get its attacks off. We have perhaps the most reliable Trick Room setter, which is Carbink. This thing's job is to get Trick Room up, and on the first turn, there's a high probability of doing so due to the fact that it cannot be shut down by Taunt due to the Mental Orb, and it cannot be O-Code because of Sturdy. After that, its job is to try to get rocks up if it can, and then go boom. Magic Code is there for opposing things like a Galvantula, I don't know, a Tentacruel, or a Nihilego, who might want to try to set up some sort of hazards against Carbink. And this will discourage them from doing so and also maybe force them to switch out, allow them to get your rocks up. For the EVs, max out HP, and then as well as that, it did have max speed before, but I actually lowered it by 1 because I was running into speed ties with things like Defensive Landers T, which is no bueno. So this is to avoid that, to make sure we outspeed in Trick Room. As for the abusers, we have, of course, Gumshoos, and then from the special side, we have Spextrampa. I really, really like this thing. It's a ton of fun to use. Gets really nice coverage between its 2 stab moves here with Hyper Voice and Draco. Flamethrowers for picking off things like Magearna. Flamethrowers added coverage for Steel types and normal types and whatnot. Really good stuff, I feel like. This thing's actually fairly bulky too, so it can afford to soak up a hit out of Trick Room if you really need it. And speaking of which, we have our other setter, which is especially defensive Porygon too. Really, really like this thing. It especially from the special side, it just it takes Focus Blast really, really nicely. It can just shrug them off with Recover. Trick Room, of course, is there to set up that, and then Toxic is for whittling things down in the event that I need to, as well as this thing can almost just stall out on its own because it's so strong. And then we have Foul Play here, which is to discourage setup. If you see something like a Dragonite, you can switch Porygon 2 into it. It should be able to take something at +1, and then Foul Play will do a lot at that point. Sassy Nature here. And then there's that. Then we have Mega Scizor. I actually need to fix this real fast. Originally, I had this as something that could also kind of abuse Trick Room, but really it doesn't get it on it too much. This is things more of just a late game sweeper. Once it gets its Mega Evolution off, it's bulky to reliably switch into physical hits, as well as some special ones as well. Good recovery with Roost, set up with Sword Stance, Grazie. And as long as the opposing team's fire type, Steel and Bug Resist is out, this thing does a really nice job of cleaning up late. And then last but not least, speaking of cleaning up, we have Choice Scarf Tapu Lele. This thing is almost obligatory on almost all OU teams right now. If you want to swap out, I almost never use Thunderbolt, but I kind of like Hidden Power Fire on this thing. This allows it to pick off things like Scizor and Ferrothorn and the like that. Although I do have the Flamethrower coverage on this as well. It doesn't do anything in Magearna, but for the grass types, it does a little bit more here. Psychic is obligatory stab, which gets boosted to insane levels in Psychic terrain. Moonblast, another really nice stab move, and the Shadow Ball is for picking off things like Alolan Marowak and the like. But mostly this thing comes in late to just try to sweep up with Psychic. Very nice revenge killer and just cleaner in general. So there's the team. I had some fun with it. Let's look at some replays.
All right, so we got our first battle here against a pretty heat squad, starting out right at the bottom of the ladder, so you know what you see. All right, let's do this thing. So Carbink is the most reliable Trick Room setter because with a Mental Herb and Sturdy, it's almost certain to get Trick Room off. This one I wasn't too concerned with Swampert right off the bat, although maybe I should have been in hindsight, but I am able to get the Trick Room off. I guess we Speed Tide here because he is able to be quicker in both turns. Anyway, but that brings in Big Gumshoos, and here's the Big Popper! It's just too easy. Now, in an absolutely desperate maneuver, my opponent has to bring his Life Fire and protect me, but that isn't going to save him. You see, because when you're Gumshoos, it's just simply too easy. You just burn one room of Trick Room, that's all you get out of it. Now, unfortunately, we are locked in here, so we do have to go for Thrash again, as he goes for the flip. But look at the tank! Gumshoos just putting in work in all sorts of different ways. So, as you can see in that first battle, Gumshoos actually put in a little bit of work. Once Trick Room is up with the adaptability and Choice Band boost, it actually gets pretty darn strong. So here we go with the second battle against a much more competent-looking team. So this guy leads Bulu, and he does go immediately for the Sword Stance, which is good because it does allow me to get rocks up in addition to the Trick Room. And then this next turn, I thought I would be able to outspeed with the Trick Room up, but no dice right there. But it's okay because, Tactical Nuke incoming. It's too easy. Now, Turtonator comes in here as the defensive wall, but as you'll see, its feeble attempts to shrug off Gumshoos' Thrash just simply don't work. So I wanted to get out here. There's no reason to stay in, I feel like, if he was confused. So I am able to go up into Porygon 2, and he stays in this next turn to Bulldoze me for whatever reason. I don't know. It's low ladder, let's not question that. But here he does switch out, which gives me a really good chance to set up Trick Room. I actually misplay right here by going into Drampa. I thought he would go for like a Trop Kick or something like that, but instead this is offense with Life Orb, so misplay there. But thankfully I got an insurance policy, and it's too easy. Cue Metallica's Whiplash, because Gumshoos is just thrashing all around. So Wishy-Washy comes in an attempt to stop the rampage that is Gumshoos, but no dice. Oh yeah, one more time, ladies and gents. It's too easy. So as you can see in this battle, Gumshoos put in a lot of work and really opened the way late game for Scizor and Tapu Lele to clean up.
So in that last one, as you can see again, Gumshoos did a little bit here and there. Now, here is a team right here. Classic low ladder team on no semblance of any kind of balance, just 6 very offensive, hard-hitting Mons, which means that in Trick Room, Gumshoos is going to have a field day. So let's just get started with this one. Alright, so per usual, we lead this thing. We actually go Magic Coat here, because we are able to bounce back the taunt. Now I can get rocks up and go for the Trick Room. So it's nice to see Magic Guard actually doing some stuff, or Magic Coat, I should say, doing some stuff there. So it takes me down via Sturdy right there. I am able to get the Trick Room off and go Boom on him. And now Gumshoos just starts to put in a little bit of work. So, Mon number 1, Azelf. And he goes down. Mon number 2, Greninja. Oh, Water Shuriken. I see how it is. Well, when you have the bulk of Gumshoos. Oh, no. See ya! So that's 2 right there. So we got one more turn of Trick Room. So I figure, screw it, I'm just gonna try. See ya! All right. So thanks for coming. Those three mons. Now Pincer comes in. He tries to set up on me, but I'm locked in. See ya! So that is now four mons taken out by Gumshoos here. What did I do here? I actually switched out here into Porygon 2. We are able to chase multi-scale, but you can see immediately just Gumshoos just absolutely nuking this four mons on this very offensive team. And then the guy forfeits. So just great stuff all around. A lot of fun. It was at around this time that I actually changed this name to One Punch. And I just removed all the moves on its moveset except for Thrash. This actually kind of bit me in a couple later battles, but we won't talk about that. So that last act is a tough one to follow. But what we have here is just a real short one. Just want to showcase just a little bit of the ability for Gumshoos to even take out the opposing team's resist for it. So here we started out, we are able to bounce back the hazards. We get the Trick Room up. I actually don't explode there because I saw some utility with Carbink still. So I really thought that he would switch out at this point, so I doubled out from where Scizor was. That ended up being a bad play, but you do get to see Spectrompa in action. Spectrompa actually put in a lot of work for this session, but since this video wasn't for him, I didn't show him as much. But yeah, if you're looking for a Trick Room special attacker, that thing's awesome. So here I do go into Porygon 2. It nicely takes the Tapu Lele Psychic. I am able to recover the damage right here, so blah, 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 blah. It gets a little bit repetitive here. So here he goes into Metagross. I didn't expect this, so I did go for the Toxic there. But now that he Mega Evolves, I am able to get a Foul Play off, get some nice damage off on this thing because it did check a lot of my team. So he does go for the Meteor Mash here and just take up Porygon 2. That's okay. As I go into this to Revenge. Instead, he sacks Nihilego, which is nice. So next up, he goes into Tentacruel. I thought this would be a nice opportunity to go back into Carbink, try to set up the Trick Room again, as he does just go for the spin. Now here I go for the Trick Room, so I get the Trick Room up. And I actually maybe should have gone for Rocks right here, because Tentacruel isn't typically very defensive, even if they have the utility set on it, so. Or at least not defensive enough to take this. So here we go. Boom! Gumshoos lighting up everything. Now here's the big thing right here. So Magnezone comes in with the resist, still takes 66 from it. So Magnezone retaliates with a Thunderbolt. Gumshoos is just able to let and fighting through the confusion. This thing doesn't get confused. It has a clear sense of purpose. And so as you can see right there, Gumshoos, even on the resist, was still able to two-shot it. And that really opened the way late to finish up with Scizor and Tapu Lele. So great stuff. So one last battle right here. So another fairly competent looking team. Lead Mamoswine, Bulky, a couple Bulky types, maybe Unaware Wall, a couple late game sweepers, something like that. So let's get into this. So per usual, we lead this and we are able to get the Trick Room off. Unfortunately, we can't do anything more than that because he does go for Ice Shard on the second turn. But here we are immediately going into Gumshoos, who beats him adieu. And so next up we have Kartana, so I am locked in. And we nearly say adieu to this thing. It is a crit, but goodness gracious. So just go for the Smart Strike. And due to that, we are able to get out here and just go into Scizor. Now with the Trick Room turns burned up, I do go for the Bullet Punch here. And here on the next turn, I do go for the SD. Because I know these things like to play the sub games, and I don't think without the boost I can break a sub right off the bat. So I do go for the Bullet Punch right there. It does break the sub. On the Superpower, he does get the crit. But with that being said, we are able to survive. So here I figure just get off whatever damage I can. He's going to take me out. But he actually opts to try to sub again, which is very nice. So we do take Buzzwole out here. And then now Tapu Fini comes in, and we are able to get some nice damage off on this thing as well. So Scizor puts in a lot of work as we are whittling his team down. So next up, we go into Porygon 2, which ends up being a terrible play because he does taunt me. And now Porygon 2 essentially just has to immediately switch out. So another bad play here is that I switch hard into Drump. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought maybe like a Scald or something was coming, so I do that. So now I go back into this as it is just slowly getting Lefty's recovery back. So a series of bad plays here, but finally I get into Tapu Lele on the taunt. So at least that thing is intact. I do go for the Psychic, and we are still in two-shot range. So now here he opts, I believe, to just stay in and sack Tapu Fini, which is really good for me because the thing was a problem. Quag comes in. I see no reason to switch out, so I stay in as he does go for the Toxic. So next up, we are able to take out Quag, which is really good news. And now Zam comes in. So I figure I'll switch out here into Drampa, just sack it, as he does try to set up right here, I believe, Calm Mind. And so I retaliate. I figure I'll just try to fire off a Draco, as this does force his hand to try to knock me out. Now this gives me an opportunity to just set up the Trick Room. As we get into a little bit of back and forth, I try to go for the Toxic here to put him on a timer. I figured Foul Play wouldn't do a lot. So we are able to connect with that right here. He does opt to just knock me out here, which is great for me because this means that Gumshoos just wins at this point. So Gumshoos comes in here. Bizadu to Kartana. And now Spoonsy over here came in looking for a hug, but what he got was a thrashing. And so there you go. Gumshoos coming in late game to finish thing up. So as you can see, a lot of fun battles with Gumshoos. If you want a final verdict, what I'd probably have to say is that this thing's like definitely fun to try out. Experiment with different things, like try the stakeout set, the the strong jaw, something with crunch, I guess. But all in all, I think it remains a novelty Pokemon and ridiculously outclassed by a lot of different things in the Pokebank OU tier. So if you've gotten this far, thank you so much for watching. It's much appreciated, and I don't know, is this how you want to end it out? Something like this. All right, take care.